Good morning, folks. Good morning, South Africa. Good morning, world. 15th of October, and everyone is pretty tense about the 16th of October, when Senekal will go down in history as the scene of one of the most pivotal events in our country's history, obviously. It is a fulcrum event, and it hasn't been written yet. It's not over yet. But how will history remember it? They're going to write books about it, no doubt. They're going to make movies. And how will that movie end? How will it actually come out? Will we go into the big riding into the sunset finale? And as title role, we see a wonderful, brave, new, united South Africa moving forward. Or will it be the first in a sequence of movies of destruction, war-torn, like those movies that they make of the Middle East, of everyone getting killed and bombs blowing up all over the place? Is that what it's going to be? Will it be an autocratic state? Will we have a lockdown pushed further and controlled further, media blocked up so that we don't know what's going on? These are all scenarios that could play out. And I think it's us that hold the key to how it's going to be remembered. I mean, if we think about it, there are three major players, aren't there? There are the farmers, there's the EFF, and there's the government. Ostensibly the ANC, but it's the government. Okay, it's supposed to be the government, and at the moment, some moves seem to be indicate that hopefully they are rising to the occasion and trying to stop the nonsense before they actually destroy it. But these are the three players. And the movie, well, probably starts with this kid, Brendan, getting killed the night he gets killed, or maybe starts with the father going out the next morning to find him and finds his body. And it would be the story from there till tomorrow. But there would be a lot of backstories, because obviously that's not the story. That is not the story of our poor nation. It's much more complicated. There's been killing and indignation and oppression for years. That's a fact. Colonialism raped this fucking country. There's no doubt about it. And instead of us white people feeling indignant and, all up in arms, acknowledge the fact, because only when we acknowledge the fact can we move forward. And then, of course, so the movie would not just be a fair reflection to just show the murder moving forward. It should show all the murders. It should show the gender-based violence, the increase in gender-based violence, the murders and the crime and the hate against LGBT, any kind of religious oppression or intolerance. These are all stories that make up the story of poor South Africa. And these are the stories that have nurtured and grown and swollen this feeling of hate and intolerance. Not because we actually hate each other. Yes, of course they are. They're the fringe guys that I want to kill everyone on both sides. Yeah, I put on kind of fuck off skit, and the other guy EMP. Of course they're those fringe, but those are not the majority of us that just want to get on, do a job, have a good woman, have kids, raise them up happily, make them all get on with each other, not because of some kind of philanthropic hope, but because it's easier. Get on with each other, do our things and grow something, not try and destroy it each time. This is what the problem with education is. Kids are not learning about history, and history teaches us one thing. Someone comes up with a great idea, and this is America, wait. They grow up, they come up with a marvelous idea, they grow this amazing empire, and then greed takes over and they destroy it. And then they start again, and then they destroy the history books so that no one knows about what happened before. And the people that do know are the politicians and expedient business players, know the game and they know how to play it and can orchestrate it. So we get sucked in and we sit on the fence and we look around and hoping we won't be noticed. and hoping we'll make it through. And I hope that other guy does something about it. But the other guys that are trying to do something about it are violent. They're trying to kill each other. And they are trying to work in your interest and my interest. How? No, man. The more people out there, if we see the people that are making the noise, yeah, they're a couple of 100,000, maybe a couple of 100,000. But most of the people, hey, they go home and we joke about each other. Oh, how we aggravated the bloody taxi driver, pissed me off, and I'm sure black people do the same in India. That's part of the color of culture, is the humor in each other's cultures and idiosyncrasies according to our culture. But that's not judgmental. That is humor. That is the ability to expand and see the good in each other and laugh at the bad in each other or the funny in ourselves. And here we sit now tomorrow, everyone watching, and I see on social media more and more people saying, hey guys, think about the 17th. You know, this is not going to happen. We cannot go. And I'm sure Julius will be pushing every button he can to get one white hand to lift. So how can we win? Some other hothead from either side antagonizes the other that is going to be insane, which means the police get in, break it up, people get killed, and on international news we hear about these white farmers that attacked, and thank God the EFF were there to stop and the police had to join. It's going to be crazy. That's not in the interest of black, white, yellow, green. It's not in the interest of South Africa to start tearing at each other and make us spend more time on how to defend our integrity, our honor, and everything else we want to defend, instead of getting together, making money, and bailing this country out. So let me tell you about my movie for tomorrow. We know it starts there with Brendan, with his father found, and it's got all these backstories giving a picture. And now we know that Julius and the EFF are going to be there. And the army and police are there. And the EFF are here and they're wearing their reds and they're dancing, and you can feel it building. And all the farmers in their khaki suits and shorts are standing, and their little hats are standing this side. And in the middle here are the police with their barricades and stuff, keeping the people apart. And as the tension is building and Julius is speaking, some oak puts on a mega PA hidden in a building with PA facing out. So it can't be seen, but bang, and they play this Jerusalem. Now, I'm not making fun. Think carefully. Maybe it's not Jerusalem, but it would be so cool. It would work. I do shows, I do communications, I do mass events. That's what I do for a living. Believe me, it would work. So they put the PA. No one knows what's happening. There's sort of, Julius is looking around. The EFF is not quite sure, quite curious, but maybe a bit diffused. And the farmers are the same. And then the farmers start dancing. They start boogieing, doing sucky with each other. Who cares? And they boogie around. I guarantee it'll pull attention, and there'll be some people start smiling within the EFF. But could you imagine if this went on TV then? And everyone's going to have the cameras, and the world will be watching. And they saw that the Burra started and some EFF started dancing. And the police were in the middle, up and down, not knowing what to do. The water cannons ready, stun grenades, the whole thing. And then slowly, like a wave, the boogie went out across these two, and they faced and they danced like that guy with that ad with the truck, those two truck drivers, the black oak, and they were inviting each other across the bridge. And then they were sort of one inviting, then the second bigger, and eventually having a jaw. It was so cool, man. That's what we need. All of us have got more of those moments. We sit and we get involved with each other every day. I go to the spa, and I look at the girl giving me the tip, working at the counter, and I look and say hi, and she sort of half nods at me, and I'm like, oh, fucking racist bitch kind of thing. And then I'm 15 cents short, and I like look in my pocket, and she looks at me, still half disinterested, and gives me the slip and looks at the next customer. And I walk on. Small gesture. And I was getting pissed off because I don't appreciate culture. I don't know how they feel. They sit in the shop every day. But I come and see this. I see people walking across the road, and you let them, and they let you. The small gestures, and then we come and we watch social media, and it fucking stimulates our hate. And we start becoming defensive and paranoia and wondering who's got the biggest gun. God, if we dance tomorrow, don't just, Buddha, if you want to sing, you'll go. If you want to go, I don't think you should go. You should go and defend houses and keep the moral high ground. I'd like to ask so many people from the EFF to do the same. But I understand where you are within the group. I know the peer pressure. I know the whole situation. And possibly even understand your sentiment. But we can't understand that. But violence is not going to solve this. If we could get the average person who just wants to get on and get their shit behind them and have a good life and tolerate anyone. I don't have to like them. I've lived in the area for 26 years. The only neighbors I know are the guys behind me, and they're black. The others, I see their face high, but I don't even recognize them when they drive past the car, unless they change. If they change the car, fucked. And we don't. And this is what we say we're defending. What do I want to defend? I've been to townships where I used to work with a dance group in Alex. When I went there, I felt like God. There were oaks. I parked my car in the middle of Alex. And I was like, fuck, guys, they have an escort. They said, we know you. You're fine. And hospitality was beyond. And this is not once. And all of us have been there. All of us have got these stories. And now we're looking at the hate mongers. And we're listening to their story and realigning our feeling towards each other and thinking our people are going into war tomorrow. And our destiny depends on their actions tomorrow. And we're all saying we're doing it in Chotsanam, in God's name, for the ancestors. Fuck, could you imagine God and the ancestors getting together? They will be bitching like hell because we're so fucking stupid. War doesn't solve it. We've got problems. The land issue is a problem. Murder is a problem. Brutality, not farm murder. It's any murder where you have got criminals, okay, and hardened criminals that are committing these murders. That needs to be addressed in all society. And it also has to be addressed that poverty is the major driver of this whole fucking gedunte, isn't it? Because people are doing crime that wouldn't if they were not criminal, if they had money, if they could support their family. And the people with wealth of all colors, white, black, Indian, Chinese, all of us should be contributing and thinking how we can create jobs for these people, how we can get people into an informal business and drive a barter system, whatever, but help each other so that there's a feeling of worth in each other's societies of each other. Because that's how it's going to work. That's how we live before politicians get involved, before bullshit gets involved. That's how the majority, that's how I think everyone wants to work. Just as some people are angry and bitter, and all people have said, oh, yeah, fuck, we all got an axe to grind. Jesus Christ, we have, eh? We have all got an axe to grind, but let us do it with a vision in mind, and the vision is out of 70 million people, even if a couple of million get killed, which please God no, there's still 67 million there. What happens to them? Do we leave them in a state that in 30 years' time, they are in the position where Zimbabwe is now? In 30 years' time, your kids, when they are having their grandkids, they are then asking these questions because we want to play fucking Rambo. No, guys, it doesn't work like that. And the ladies, calm down, babes. I see on social media, it's the women, they're going to, all the women are war, and that's how it was in nightclubs, you know that? When we were kids, two oaks would want to go rolling, they'd go outside and they'd argue, pat each other on the back, maybe a clap here and there, go back inside and drink. Let one woman come outside and everyone is murring each other. Everyone. Calm down, ladies. Let us not talk about going to war. Let us not be the little fox terriers on the thing. These are big decisions, serious, big decisions, and there has got to be give. The honor, keeping the honor, is by not going and getting murdered from all sides, by all sides, and all sides getting murdered. That's not honor. There's no dignity. Malema will go back to his house tonight. Hey, fuck, a hard day. Pass me some pins. And the rest of the people that are bleeding, and the country's future, where are we sitting and looking to people of hate to suggest a bright future? How does that work? How can we, hey man, I want someone to tell me how my life is going to be so happy. Could you, Mr. Hate? It doesn't work, eh? No, we must get clever people that come up with solutions and say, these are the realities, boom, 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 boom. This has got to. And it's not a Falk and Vaderland solution from either side. It is a situation of reality, like a game of chess. How many players have I got, and how do I use them, and how do I put them in a way that the team wins? And the team is not the Afrikaner, the Engelsman, or the colored, or the black, or the Xhosa. It's South Africa. We're all in this team, dude. We start wanting to break those little teams up, and then we're not talking 10 years, we're talking 50 years. So tomorrow, go there with the idea of love and dance. And in your mind, every time you get upset, if you cannot take facing antagonism, turn your back. And please God, Mr. President and Mr. Chele, become instruments of unity and tolerance, not of division. Let's get through this. Let's get through this like big people, like dignified people with a mind to spend money on the poverty-stricken, to lift them out of the shit and not think it's everyone else's problem. It's all our problems. Love you, SA. God bless.